A wooden sword floats upwards and is grasped by a reddish-brown-haired, blue-eyed Arthur. He wears dark clothes. Arthur swings the sword downwards powerfully, creating a bright orange flash of light. A quick slash. Tesher, with emerald green eyes, stares in shock at the fight. "Grandpa!" cries the little girl, showing her concern for Virion, whom she calls Grandpa. Virion emits a blue aura. "Scary little boy," he thinks. Arthur swiftly swings his sword again, this time sideways with great speed. His sword creates another blue flash as he attacks Virion. Virion dodges. Virion attacks Arthur and Arthur manages to block it, but the attack is very powerful. Arthur jumps to avoid a blow, then spins in the air. The wooden sword falls to the ground near Arthur. Arthur retrieves his sword and launches a series of quick attacks. Each swing produces a flash of energy. Despite using mana and minimizing his movements, Arthur continues his assault. Virion parries the attacks. Arthur attacks relentlessly. Virion is behind Arthur and Arthur notices. "I still can't keep up," Arthur thinks. Arthur stumbles and falls. "Chance," he thinks. Arthur twists his body to avoid Virion's attack. Arthur is thrown back and jumps up. His sword is flung upwards. Arthur catches his sword midair. "Must be faster," Arthur thinks. His sword touches Virion. No, Virion dodges by leaping back. Arthur falls and rolls on the ground. The little girl, watching, yells, Grandpa!" Arthur lies on the ground, looking at Virion with a surprised expression. "Theft," Virion laughs. "What?" Arthur thinks. Virion holds his injured forehead. "I guess I deserve this for being arrogant," he mutters. "But I didn't expect you to land a hit. Now, let's start round T," Virion says to Arthur. "I think you've bothered Art enough," Grandpa interrupts the little girl, Tesher. Tesher stares at Virion with a flat expression. "You should go easy on him," Tesha grumbles. Virion replies, "I'm afraid if I do, I'll be the one bullied by him. I'm honored that His Excellency Elder Virion thinks so highly of me," Arthur adds. Virion stares seriously at Arthur. "Honored? Why?" he asks. Virion says to Arthur, "In this case, become my student." The little girl looks confused. Huh? Virion asks Arthur, "So, are you willing?" Arthur stares seriously at Virion. "Are you serious?" he asks. "Why not?" Virion asks. Arthur looks hesitant. "Well, firstly, I'm a human." "Are humans allowed in this kingdom?" Arthur asks. Virion replies, "No one would dare chase you away while you're under my watch." Virion continues, "I know you're actually far more advanced than other kids, even adults, but just so you know, I can teach you far better than any mage in Sapin." Arthur shakes his head. "No, even if you say so, I still don't want to. No, right now, I don't even know how my parents are doing, and no one knows if I'm dead or alive," Arthur says. "If there's a way to see and communicate with them and let them know you're alright, would that be enough?" Virion asks. Virion points at the little girl. "Wait, bathe Tesha and put her to bed," he orders. Virion says to Arthur, "You've experienced a burning pain in your mana core, haven't you? And does the pain come more frequently now?" Virion asks. "It has to do with what I felt earlier during our little spar." "How did you know?" Arthur asks, "and besides that, I also know." "It seems you don't understand the reason for the pain you're feeling," Virion replies. Virion opens his robe. "Do you know what a beast will is?" he asks. "Beast will. Those are words I've never heard before," Arthur says. "But I'm instantly reminded of when Sylvia attacked my mana core," he continues. Virion explains, "I'm sure you already know or have even encountered several mana beasts." He shows a diagram of mana beast levels, ranging from E to S class. "But a beast will is strong enough to be categorized as a class or higher," Virion continues. "Gaining the ability to pass on their will or abilities occurs once, either to their offspring or someone they're bound to. I won't ask how you found the relic of such a powerful beast, but at this stage, the power within you is doing more harm than good," Virion says. Arthur looks surprised, "The fact that you know all this." Do you have a beast will too? Varian releases his blue aura. Yes, I'm known as the Beast Tamer. It's a title you can earn once you've fully conquered the monster's power within you, Varian says. I know how important it is to return to your family, but doing so now is extremely risky, Varian says. Varian touches Arthur's chest. The power of your beast will become too much for your immature body to handle. If it's not controlled soon, Varian continues. Something inside Arthur cracks. Croc, the power you've gained will destroy your body from the inside, Varian says. Light emanates from Arthur's body. A young boy lies in bed, feeling a heavy pressure on his chest. He wonders what's weighing him down. He sees a monstrous figure with glowing green eyes and octopus-like tentacles looming over him. He wonders if the monster is a manifestation of his fears. A white-haired girl, Tesha, roughly wakes the boy, Arthur, up. She says, "Morning, Art," and tells him to get up. Arthur, now awake, asks the shadowy monster from his dream to give him 5 more minutes. Tess, annoyed, asks who he's calling a monster. Art gets dressed. Tess asks if he's really staying, and he replies maybe, since his grandpa told him so this morning. He explains they'll know for sure after their trip with Elder Varian. Tess pinches him for calling her princess again and reminds him to call her Tess. Art overhears Tesh's final plea to her father, the king, to let him stay with Elder Varian. The king initially refuses, saying Arthur is a human and shouldn't be in their kingdom. However, Alduin and Elder Varian convince the king that Art saved Tesh's life, and Tesha herself agrees to Art's presence. Finally, the king allows Art to stay under Elder Varian's care. Art is grateful that Elder Varian kept his promise. Art and Tesha hurry off with Elder Varian. Art asks how much farther they have to go. Varian responds by saying Art is uncomfortable calling him Grandpa. Art agrees not to call him that. Elder Varian tells Art about Tesha being lonely growing up as the only princess. He explains that Art's presence has made Tesha smile and laugh again. Elder Varian continues his story, explaining how Tesha became cold and distant after being disappointed by those around her. However, Art's presence has changed her. Art thanks Elder Varian. They arrive at the home of Renia Darkasson, a deviant who will help Art. Elder Varian bursts through Renia's door. Renia is angry that Varian startled her. Varian introduces Renia to Art and Tesha. Renia invites them in. Art realizes Renia is a deviant. Like his mother, he's curious how Renia can help him. Elder Varian says Renia's magic can help Art reach his parents. Renia introduces herself as a diviner. She explains her ability to see a person's past and future. Renia also explains she will help and make sure Art's parents are alright. Renia begins her ritual and asks Art to focus on imagining his parents. Art pictures his mother and father clearly. Art prays that his parents are still alive. Alice prepares dinner, a pot of soup. She calls her husband to eat. Her husband compliments the meal and asks if there's a special occasion. Alice replies that there isn't. Alice explains she just wanted to cook for him because it's been a while since she last cooked after they moved. She adds that the soup used to be their son, Arthur's, favorite. Her husband asks if something's wrong. Alice says no and gently rubs her pregnant belly. Inside her womb, little Arthur greets his parents. Suddenly, a voice calls out. Arthur says, "Hello, Mom." "Hello, Dad. It's your son, Arthur. You're probably surprised to hear my voice in your heads. I'll explain later, but right now, I want you to know ... Alice and her husband are shocked to hear Arthur's voice. Arthur tells them he's living in the kingdom of Elenoir with the elves. He asks them not to blame each other for what happened. He says he's proud of what he did and if he could go back in time, he would do the same thing again, even if it meant dying. Arthur wants to see them, but it's difficult because he's suffering from some kind of illness and needs to be treated. He assures them he's not in danger. Arthur says he doesn't know when he'll be able to contact them again like this. He tells his dad to keep his mom and the baby safe. There's a deviant mage there helping him communicate with them. Arthur promises he'll keep practicing magic and fighting during his recovery, even challenging his dad to a spar when they finally reunite. Reynold is stunned to hear Arthur's voice in his head. Alice calls out to Reynold and cries. Reynold comforts her. Arthur says he loves them both and asks them to take care of themselves until he returns. Arthur's parents embrace. Arthur's image fades from their minds. Tears roll down Arthur's cheeks. Virian looks at Arthur. Young Arthur wipes his tears and says he's ready.